Uncensored.
Hello and welcome. Hopefully, you're going to have a good time listening to this. And I wasn't on mute. Hooray.
Woohoo.
Right, everybody can see you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you poor individuals. I mean,
jig
on
is
my
up.
behalf, not the rest of you. Hey, everybody. Welcome to session 3 of our second season of our Choombas ongoing Cyberpunk Red game here on Cyberpunk Uncensored. So thank you for coming to join us and see our shenanigans. Usual content warnings apply, so just remember the world of Cyberpunk, as the world in general, is not particularly a nice place. So bad things do happen. There is violence, there is bad language. Terrible people do exist. However, we're not out to upset anybody, so the worst things you can think of are not going to happen on screen. There's no reason for us to feature that. Things may be alluded to, but will not occur on screen. But we may mention some difficult topics. So if that does upset you in any way, then we're entirely sorry. It's not our intention. We're just telling stories, and we do not endorse the evil behaviors of some of the people contained within. So stay safe. But that said, we're all here to have fun. So, first things first, let's give some introductions. Let's go around, and we're down a couple of our players this week for various reasons. We know it's Father's Day, so people have commitments that they had to stick to, and that's absolutely fine. So let's start with our solo, Harabag. Who are you and what do you do?
Hey, I'm also go by the name of CyberSmiley. My name's Will. My reason why I go by CyberSmiley is I have a cyberpunk site that I maintain called cybersmiley.net. There are a bunch of utility apps you can find for your cyberpunk game. Mostly Cyberpunk 2020, but there are a few for Cyberpunk Red.
Cool. Thank you. Next up, we have our media. Who are you and what do you do when you're not here?
Well, I'm Ariel. I'm a dog walker. I spend a lot of time at home, and I'm an amateur writer. And I'm playing Wanda, who is our media, and she's a little bit like April O'Neil with a little bit of an edge. But that's about it.
Cool. Thank you. And next up, we have our exec, the money behind the team. Who are you and what else do you do?
Hi, I'm Raven. I'm a massage therapist. Like Panda said, I'm playing your exec, Valentina Lynx.
Cool. Thank you. And last but not least today, our tech master who is running the stream for us today, Burrows. Who are you and what do you do?
Hey, I'm Burrows Forge, a stream here on Twitch doing blacksmithing, beekeeping, falconry, and mead brewing. Lately, we just actually made a hard seltzer, black cherry hard seltzer on Twitch. But here in the world of Cyberpunk Red, I play Locke, who is a tech, and he is just met the new team, and looking forward to learning more about them and who they are and where they come from.
Cool. Thank you. And I, as always, am Matt, aka Reservoir Panda. I run this and another weekly stream, ongoing campaign here on Cyberpunk Uncensored of Cyberpunk Red. and I try. We've had some tech issues in the past, and we seem to be past that. So we are trying to stick to those 2 weekly slots, which is very, very exciting times. Being able to actually reliably run a game, woohoo! Pandemics are awesome for network reliability.
At least in the
so
UK.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So yes, that's what I do, along with other various geeky stuff. So I am the person responsible for these miscreants and their activities, and today we're going to learn a little bit more about some of them and see what they get up to. Last time round, we had, well, over the last 2 weeks, in fact, we had a minor encounter where our exec, Valentina, had been tasked with something from her higher ups. She'd been sent to investigate or get a team to investigate and deal with the sources of disappearances of some shipments. Now, disappearances is maybe overstating things. They knew exactly what was happening. The trucks were being jacked. It was just a matter of finding out how that was happening and dealing with the issue. Our team was assembled rather chaotically through a fixer in a local bar called Ricochet's, and the lovely fixer that they dealt with, who is such a stable individual, brought a group together on her behalf of well-trained professionals, and they ventured forth onto the streets of Night City to gather information and see what they could do to alleviate this problem. Quickly turned up evidence of a particular group of bozos who had a certain style and aesthetic all of their own, as something of a splinter group, called the Cirque du Sewer. And these less than sane individuals had been jacking trucks and quite effectively covering up their tracks. But then taking the contents, the reason that it was so hard to track them down is they're actually storing them in the sewer system under the city. So when people were checking local fences, local storage yards, anywhere that would usually take these sort of mass shipments of illicit goods, then nothing was turning up. It turned out they'd actually completely cleared out a section of the local sewers under Little Europe, and were using that for storage and as a base of operations, transforming it into a sort of underground amphitheater come circus ring. Very, very strange, all things told. Lots of oddities happened, and there was a little bit of fighting, a little bit of gunfire, a little bit of stabbing. There may have been mechanical elephants and giant strongmen who were absolutely enraged at the suggestion that they were anything less than perfect human beings to the cost of their own lives. But through all of this, and giant rebar crossbows as well, which were very, very fun. And our Nomad Dram is in fact away this week because he's still getting his vehicle patched up after 3.5 feet of steel was launched through the front window of it, and he's very protective of his car. So once all that had been dealt with, mechanical elephants and all, then they collected what was left of the shipments, which were being cut up and sold off piecemeal to fund the elaborate costumes, lighting rigging, massive amounts of glitter and smoke bombs, and all the other things that you need to put on an underground circus. no one seems to actually have ascertained what these delusional people intended to achieve, as they hadn't. There's no sign that they'd ever actually put on any sort of show, but they had clearly burned through tens of thousands of eddies gathered from other companies' stolen stock, and spent them on all of these elaborate preparations, costumes, etc., for something that never happened. So, very, very strange. But their job was very satisfactory, and they all got paid handsomely for the privilege, and came back more or less in one piece. Anyone who had any sort of ongoing injuries, will just specify that now that the company was happy to provide access to their medical facilities to get you patched up longer term. So no one is carrying over anything from that. There were a couple of more serious injuries. There was a brain injury as well. But these all got dealt with. Everyone is back in working order. So, with that said, I think we're all caught up. We're going to cover the time. Just go through and cover the time in the sort of week following those events. See what our team are up to, and what it is that they do when they've not got a job on immediately. So, let's make a start with Harbog. You are a very industrious individual, and always looking to make yourself useful, and always looking to get paid. The reasons you might need that money are entirely your own, and the group may discover that there's something more there, some underlying reason, or it may just be you want to keep living and paying rent. But that's entirely down to you. What does your week look like following this?
So following that, basically putting out feelers into the various contacts I have to see if there's any particular jobs happening within the near future, whether they're quick bodyguard jobs, infiltration, any wet work that needs to be done. So basically, he's just trying to find a way to make cash quick.
Okay. And speaking of that, let's see what you do turn up. So, do you want to give me a roll for? I think you were going to do a hustle with your time. So, do you want to give me a roll and see what that comes up with?
Yeah, you're gonna have to talk me through that because I'm not an expert in red quite yet.
No problem. So a hustle, I believe, is usually a D6 roll. Sorry, I have a massive pile of books here. And of course, it's the one at the bottom. Okay. So you find the right one. Oh, I'm so bad with the physical book. Does anyone happen to know whereabouts the solo?
Get the PDF. Searching is amazing.
I do have the PDF. Unfortunately, for some reason, it doesn't seem to be opening right now, which is why I'm going for the physical book. If you've got the hustle chart there in front of you, then we will use that. So
okay.
that's
So D6.
So a 1. What does that come up as?
Bodyguard work. Low-end client. Scoring 100 DB for it.
Okay, so you managed to. It's basically one night of work. you cover for this is an off-duty NCPD detective who is, you think, maybe doing some less than legitimate side work, but you're not too interested. As long as you're getting paid, then the discretion is part of your fee. So he's doing some off the books work and just needs some muscle as backup in case anything goes wrong. What's your look there?
My look?
Yep. What is your luck score?
Oh, luck. 5.
Yes. Okay. So as it happens, there is a minor, not a massive altercation, but there is a situation that you have to quickly step into. There are no fatalities, but there's a bit of pushing and shoving, and you do end up getting into a few seconds of conflict, but you quickly demonstrate your superiority, and the other side backs down, and the rest of the transaction goes through without a hitch. As a result, alongside your 100 eddies, you also get an extra 10 IP, just from your little, your minor practice session there. It's always good to be able to test the old reflexes.
Yep.
And who knows, that cop may have work for you in the future. As it happens, the cop's name is he just tells you that his name is Crisco.
Okay.
You never get a first name out of him.
Briscoe. Yeah. Tell him that if he ever needs any additional work, by all means, give him one of my burner phone numbers.
Cool. He may well use that in the future. So when that night comes to the end, and you've got a couple of minor bruises and things, nothing you think you need to go see a medic about. What does Harabag do at the end of a job like that? Does he go unwind? Does he head straight home? What's his routine?
So he is very inward facing, bit of an introvert. So normally after a job like that, he would probably go home, make himself some tea, relax for a bit, meditate, and then do some exercises and basically think about his past and what he needs to do to rectify the situation that's currently happening in his past with the girl who was kidnapped and now is ransomed.
Very good. And is the home that I'm envisioning? I have it seen. I see it as going one of two ways. Either it's extremely empty and Spartan, and I'm imagining it is very clean, because he seems like that kind of efficient, regimented person.
Yes.
But it's either very sparse and bare, or it's very ornately decorated, in complete contrast to his surroundings. Am I anywhere close with either of those two?
Is very sparse and bare. Because of his life, he knows that sometimes moving needs to happen very quickly. So he is keeping his living conditions are very Spartan in that way. He does have a small library of books that he quickly will throw into a duffel bag to bring with him. Other than that, it's basically a bed, some chairs, no real electronics. So he does not have a TV or an additional computer other than his agent. And most of the time during the day, he will always be walking around and going through the city looking for opportunities.
Very good. And in reference to the background which you have just brought up, is there anything in particular that you're doing to look into that situation? Are you hoping to just come across something, or are there particular avenues that you're following, or are you trying to save up money to buy info? What's the outlook there?
Yeah, so he has a couple of motivations. One, he's tired of living on the street, right? So that's one reason why he's always looking for work. And like to your point, he's trying to also look into, and because it's a long distance situation, right? Because he's in Night City and situation is actually happening back home in India. Um, he's always looking for situation and news of that area, and if there is an opportunity, looking for a chance to possibly go back there and seize that opportunity if it ever arises. But he
So
also knows that he needs money, quite a bit of it, to either buy off the kidnappers or get the money to be able to assault the kidnappers, as it were.
so he's always on the lookout for any news from the subcontinent and from looking out for potential useful contacts for the future, people who may be able to either helping out with the financing or help out with the actual operation itself should that go down. Okay,
Correct.
cool. Valentina, at the end of a very hard and very dirty mission, you and obviously accompanied by your loyal valet, making out. You type up your report. Would you deliver your report on the success of the mission in person? Would you type it up? Would you call in first and report it? What's your usual approach?
I always believe in a personal feel to it, so I would deliver my my report in person.
Okay. So I would imagine that you head straight to the offices because you want to make sure those goods get secured, and I'm not going to mess around with what are the logistics for that. You can easily arrange to leave while some of the team are still in place there, and just get it all cleared up and cordoned off so it can then be picked up and returned to where it should be and checked over.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas about who your direct superior is, and who you're reporting into about this?
I believe his name was Mr. Edinger.
Okay, cool. See, I too am learning chat. Okay. So you turn up at the offices. You get waved straight past the front reception. You've got your ID, and you arrive. Would you go and clean yourself up a little, since you have? I mean, you've not been wading through sewage or anything, but you have still been down in the sewers. Would you make a stop off to make yourself more presentable, or do you go for the look what I've been through, I'm reporting straight from the front lines and smelling of the sewer approach?
After we've been mucking around in the sewers, no, I head to the showers. Nice long hot shower, fresh clothes.
Oh, get yourself looking a little more presentable.
Presentable, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you turn up freshly clean and everything laundered. And I would imagine that Valentina is an expert at doing that in a hurry and making it look like she didn't do it in a hurry at all. Getting ready in 10 minutes and looking like it took 2 hours. So you arrive and you have a straight route up to Mr. Edinger's office. You're familiar with his personal assistant, and almost as soon as you arrive, you're shown to a seat. But then within about 30 seconds, the door swings itself open, and the assistant motions you in.
Walk in. Actually stride in and said, and just tell him, I found the shipment, sir. Here's my report on everything that everything that happened, and a tally of everything that we've managed to reclaim.
Ah, efficient as always.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I would presume that the report would be electronic, so you just flip a file across to his terminal. He takes a couple of minutes, skims through it very quickly, and how much detail do you go into? Is it more the logistics of this is exactly what we've recovered, or do you include details of what went on down there?
Exactly everything that went on down there, and not exactly everything that we managed to recover. I retain a little bit of a buffer as far as what so there's a little bit spare. So if I need something in the future, I can like pad where the numbers.
Nice, love it. Exec skimming from the get-go. That is exactly the behavior we want to encourage. Well, this is a big enough pile of recovered goods that's easily done. You can squirrel away a little 5-10% for future if it's ever needed for anything, or as part of your rainy day get out of dodge fund. So that's easy enough done, and it doesn't affect the fact that this is overall a really good result for the company.
Thank you, sir.
So he looks through, and yeah, good work as always.
I do my best.
Ticks a little box on the screen, and the payment's been authorized. Split it up between the contractors as you will. That's of course handled. I notice you've mentioned a couple of more serious injuries were dealt with here. I presume you've given them the option to use our medical facilities.
Yes.
Okay, good. How would you rate this team that were put together? It wasn't exactly a long-running thing, so it's always good to get an honest appraisal of a new group.
I get a very good feeling from them. I would like to retain them if possible for future extraction and recovery.
Very good. I note from and he's flicking through, and I note from the records that we have on them, some of them are heavily augmented individuals. Do you feel that impacts them in any way?
Not at all. If anything, we could supplement them with some of our offline inventory, so as we can product test. We can make tweaks if possible, so that we can put that into our production lines. Best to best to work out all the kinks before we put it out on the market.
Certainly, yes. These edge runners do always make willing guinea pigs for the. They'll do anything to get the latest tech. It's a great way of skipping all those pesky, rules about human trials and blah blah blah.
Don't
Just have
really
them
know
sign a
anyone.
waiver.
Don't really know anyone that would look a discount or bargain in the mouth and say no.
Yes, yes. Some people are quite desperate, aren't they? Oh well. Okay. With a view to that in the future, then, let's just taps away a little. Okay. I've credited them all with a little bit of a bonus then. Uh, let's keep their loyalty on side and maybe do a little bit more of an evaluation of them as well. So you can let them all know that if they want to drop by the medical services wing whenever's convenient for them, they do also have credit for a little bit of psychological assistance. So what this essentially means is that when you all choose to, you will each have credit for one free basic level psychology session. So you can look at recovering some humanity, and all it will cost you is the time to attend. I will also give you the option, if you should wish, they will have the option of naturally of upselling that and it being the more advanced option. So in the same time, you can recover twice as much humanity, but you'll have to pay. You'll only pay the difference if you wish to do that. But yeah, you've managed to get yourself a free psychoanalysis session.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. I'm very sure that they will find this very, they will love what you put together for them as a bonus.
Of course, we do nothing but the best for our outside contractors, just as with our employees. So I trust everything's all right. Anything further you need from me?
Actually, if you don't mind, if we could, if I could submit a request from Rockland,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to get my hands on one of their prototype cyber chairs.
Really?
Yeah, so I'd like to throw some work to my tech, and possibly come up with some new upgrades. That way we could turn it around, present that to Rockland, and possibly make a bonus out of it, and kind of shine a spotlight my way, and especially present it to you so you can shine. Most of the credit would go towards you, sir.
Naturally, standard clauses would apply.
Absolutely.
We'll have Daisy draw up the standard contracts, non-disclosure, etc., and you realise that none of the intellectual property will belong to the people working on it, as they will be employees. So, of course, while they'll receive payment, it's our tech. Just to be clear.
Absolutely, crystal clear.
Then yes, I'm sure that in the near future we can arrange something like that. Yeah, chill. Daisy will handle the details.
Thank you very much.
And he nods meaningfully towards the door. If you've unless you've got anything else.
No, that's it. Thank you very much, sir. And I'll be leaving now. Thank you.
Okay. So you head out. You sort out those details with his PA. You get the impression, you've had this impression before, that you think rather than just being a PA, that Daisy may also be some form of second line security as well. Because she seems to effectively monitor all the conversations that go on within Mr. Edinger's office. So when she comes out, when you come out, she's already fully aware of what was just discussed, and has an electronic document ready to pass over to your agent to pass on to the tech of your choice. And that will take a couple of weeks to arrange something, because it's not anything that's in the schedule. So they'll need to arrange what they can send out, and there might be some technology on it that is highly classified. So there might be certain parts that are either removed or put into sealed off sections, so that they can't be tampered with without it being evident. Yeah.
Security locked.
Yeah. But yeah, that's absolutely doable. And where do you head from there? Your job is done. Do you head home? Do you go to a bar?
After I finish talking to Daisy, I just say, tell her, I'm gonna give her a thank you, and I'll be seeing you again. I get on my agent. I give a full transcript, or pretty much a breakdown of my conversation with Mr. Edinger, and I mass send on my a text message to the entire team of what Mr. Edinger is offering up as a bonus, and I also send Locke a caveat message of, hey, I got some tech coming your way. I give him the disclosure information and everything, and just see what he can do with it. If he can come up, if he has any plans for any upgrades, which could be lucrative, and then just push out the message. And after that, go shopping for a couple new guns.
Cool. And are the guns that you're after anything special, or are we talking sort of standard street level equipment?
Standard. I'm going to be upgrading from my medium pistol to a heavy with with incendiary rounds. I do. I really did like shooting that that bozo with with those incendiary rounds.
Okay, cool. Incendiary rounds are one of those things that normally you would access through a night market.
Yes. So I have to
they're not.
contact my fixer.
Yeah, they're not generally available. However, as we don't have a fixer in the group, I'm happy to, for the odd purchase, you can use we'll call it a modification of your exec abilities. So if you want to make me a roll just with your roll ability, that's a D10, and let's see if you can get hold of some and how long they take.
Where do I find that?
Yeah, I'm not sure there's actually a button for it. So if you just roll me a D10 and add 4, yeah, that's easy enough. That comes out at a 10. So you can quite easily you take a look at the there's sort of a quartermaster system for company operatives who deal with the more physical side of things, and there's essentially down on the garage sub-level there is a company armory, and you're allowed within reason to make requests for that. So as you're in the lift on the way down to leave, then you think about this and you send through the request. And before the lift even, these requests are, sometimes it can seem quite arbitrary how long they take. Sometimes you won't get an answer for weeks, or you'll get a flat refusal. But in this case, before you get out of the lift, you have a positive response. Almost like Mr. Edinger may have anticipated this and pre-approved a certain level of access for you. So yes, you can get in your case, it's what appears to be an entirely brand new heavy pistol, and you can get up to. Okay, if you want them, you can buy up to 90 incendiary rounds. I feel like that may be a bit more than you wanted, but that's what the dice said. But that's your upper limit for them. Feel free to buy as you will.
Thank you.
And we will leave you there for the moment. So you get your new gear and you head home to relax. And we come next to our media. So, Wanda, you've been through it a bit. You've just some of the team have taken a bit of a beating. You risked your life to draw the attention of a human mountain and managed to survive the experience. You're now feeling a bit worse for wear. You know that you can go and get your wounds patched up at one of Rockland's medical facilities. You've got a little electronic pass loaded onto your agent, which gives you access to do that, no charge. Or you've got nothing, you've got no, you're not currently bleeding out, you don't have anything broken. So if you choose, you can go and do something else. What would you like to do?
I'd like to get patched up. Media needs to be able to run away with a camera, and that camera's my head, so I want it attached. Anyway,
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm gonna heal up, and Wanda's gonna be writing up reports, trying to video edit to make everyone looks like in the best light. And she's just like, I wish I had a little bit more exciting. Why didn't I look at that angle?
Okay. Well, with that in mind, then, do you want to give me a composition check?
Okay, let me I haven't used that skill before. Where is it under? For some reason my internet's being a bitch. Sorry.
Don't worry. Let's see. So composition is under, I want to say it's education. Yep, education. It's the fifth one down under education.
Education. Yum. Yeah. Apparently my OBS decided to turn on, so I was slowing everything else down.
Technology is fun, people.
Okay.
Right. And if you wish, nice. I was going to say as well, if you wish, then as you're doing this sort of immediately after the fight, then I will let you put, if you wanted to, any luck that you had remaining from last week. You could spend to boost that, that bit of extra creative flair that you put in from doing it straight out of combat. So that will give you a little bit of a bonus to that. But you come up with what you think is a very solid piece. You're fairly certain that if you want to monetize this piece, whether you do that, how do you do that? Would you try and sell it to another outlet, or do you publish it through your own blog and everything, and monetize it that way? What's your favorite approach?
That's actually kind of tricky because she doesn't really like companies in general. But so putting it on her main blog would just frustrate her, but I think she would do it because she doesn't exactly have the connections in the mainstream media right now because she got fucked.
Okay.
And is currently trying not to be blacklisted because her PA decided, ooh, let's do a whole bunch of stuff. Let's make you look real bad. But rambling.
Okay. So she'll put it out through her own, and that will trickle through, and most of the money that comes in from that is sort of in the first couple of days, and so that article earns you 50 eddies, coming just from the people who click through. After the first couple of days, it's sort of old news, and you might get the occasional view, but it's no longer new. So that just nets you a little bit of extra pocket money.
I'll just put up to 50 eddies. I have that in my thing. Hooray.
And as you were getting seen to, and it's quite efficient. Going down to the Rockland facility, it's quite an efficient service that you get. With the medical treatment, they see to you quite quickly, and they've got a lot of sort of quick options for turning around people with cuts, bruises, abrasions, and nothing actually broken or requiring surgery. They've got quick ways to turn you around, and they're like slapping patches of synthetic skin bandages over, and it's a much neater and more efficient job than you're used to receiving with like out in the field medicine. So you're quite relieved. Also, because with this being a co-op facility, maybe you don't, you may or may not. Some edge runners don't feel that comfortable hanging around in them for too long, so it's good to have a quick turnaround time. But while you're there, you do get this message through from Valentina, which confirms, as well as having your payment attached, it also confirms this additional bonus. So if you want to come back to this facility that you're at, or any other Rocklin owned or subsidiary site, then you can redeem that voucher should you want some psychological help. And the therapy is a good thing, because it helps you keep a grip on things, because you need to have some augmentations for your work, but they do over time kind of make that empathetic side of your brain a little bit fuzzy and a little bit harder to access. So that's there for when you want it.
Thank you.
Would you be wanting to take that up almost immediately, or would you have other things that you intend to do in like the next week or so? Because it does take a few days to attend the sessions. These things don't happen overnight.
Oh, why not? Let me see. My humanity is 55 out of 80, so I could use a tune-up.
So I think the basic rolls at 1d6.
I don't know where to roll. Die.
Well, if you go into the text box at the bottom of the chat, on Roll20, and type /R space 1d6.
/R 1d6.
Yeah, just put a space between the R and the 1, and you've done a dash rather than a /.
Okay. My bad.
It's okay. We're all learning things.
That's not good.
Hey, it's 2 humanity back, and it cost you absolutely nothing. So, you can adjust your humanity. You've now gone from 55 to 57, which is probably within this group, I would guess, one of the highest present. I know there are some of us that are definitely skirting the lines of cyber psychosis, which is an interesting thing for us to touch on in the future. But yeah, you've got that extra 2 humanity back. Didn't cost you a thing. Over the next few days, you come in and you see there's a quite nice. You get the feeling that because they're offering these for free, it's not like the premium service. So it's like a newly qualified psychologist that they've got you with. You're not sure that if you'd walk past him in the streets, or if he'd asked to buy a drink in a bar, then you probably would have ID'd him. But he seems to, talking to him does have some benefits, and you feel a little better at the end of a few days. And those sessions come to an end, and you have 2 humanity back. And what are you doing in the rest of your time? What's Wanda's next move?
Wanda's going through like her little black book of contacts of just like, okay, does this person hate me now, or does this person like me? I gotta find out where my friends and my enemies are. So she's planning on like making a little documentary of like reinventing myself. I am fabulous now. Don't pay attention to the past. It never happened. So
Nice. Okay, so you're busy working on your new persona and publicizing the new, faster, sleeker Striker 2.0.
Draca.
Yeah. Okay, so you're working on your social profile. You know what? With the composition check that you had before, you produced a really solid piece. So, give me what's your luck stat?
My luck stat. My look or my luck?
Luck. Luck.
Luck. Okay, it's a 6.
Okay. Right. So that article that you put out is, with the way that you pulled off some very tired but inspired in the moment dramatic flair, then actually there's a lot of heart in it. And while it's not necessarily commercially that successful because you don't really have the channels right now to get that sort of pull through your own media, it does get noticed in a few places. And anybody on the team, and we will specify this later. You can all choose individually, and Wanda, I presume, would have asked in advance. But anybody on the team who's willing to be identified, either by their actual name or by their handle or whatever, will gain 1 reputation as a result of that article.
Oh, nice.
It's nice to have the media on your side.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very good video editing. Made everyone look very shiny. Cut out some profanities.
And while you're at it, through the week you do get a couple of. You don't know whether it's because you've just popped up with this article again and you're trying to put yourself out there, but a couple of people do contact you with a couple of little bits of information, tips that whether they go anywhere or not, you don't know. You've not really got. Neither of them has anything to back anything up. But those bits of information that I sent you earlier, both come up during this week. So, what you want to do, either now or in the future, to look into whether either of them have any validity or whether they go anywhere, is entirely up to you. But I will leave you to think about that for now.
Okay.
And we shall move over to Locke. So, there's been a firefight in the sewers. You got to make use of your lovely, shiny, new, well, not new, but lovely, shiny, antique, antique pride and joy, Betty. And
her name's no longer Betty. I'll have to come up with another name.
That's fine. You can change it on the adoption papers. It's fine.
Be my Kendachi Mono 3.
Indeed. So you've been through it a bit, and you pulled your friend out of what was maybe a little bit of an over the top situation. Very weird for you because you were led into that just by text messages, so you didn't really have the full story going in. You were just filled in one line at a time, and 50% of the information came in the form of emojis because it's hijack. But you got there and you dealt with it, and you got paid at the end of it as well, which was nice. In fact, you even, as you're leaving the sewers and heading out, you shortly after get news of this little bonus. So maybe this is a group that you want to get in within the future. So you get news of both the access to some tech that you might be getting, and also this free quick short therapy course that you're all getting access to.
Okay. So
once you climb out of the sewers, where do you go? Do you head home? Do you head back to the workshop? Do you need downtime? What's your plan?
So I had already planned on doing some therapy, so I think I would probably use that credit already to get therapy taken care of. And I would probably reach out to Valentina as well, because she's sending over some kind of tech to work on. Is there any? I guess I will just call her up. Where Valentina? Where do you stay? Do you ever come down to like our usual hangout spot at the bar, or?
I usually hang out in the exact zone.
Oh, but okay. Hoity-toity.
But well, that's where my office and pretty much the lab is at. But like if I need to come down and to work out some business or like that, I dip into the whichever zones I need to go to.
Okay. So Locke is still building up his like garage area, but he doesn't have any much like equipment to put in. So his downtime is still like at the at Sally's alley. And I mean, I don't know, Panda, but at this point I've been there for like a few months, like regularly, like just fixing people's stuff. And probably like my booth corner at this point has been like converted into a makeshift workshop. I probably have a couple power stations that I've like managed to put in there. Maybe like a makeshift like kind of grate that I can pull down just when I'm not there. But I've been fixing stuff there for close to 6 months. I don't know how long we've been doing this for.
Yeah, absolutely. You've put some. It's not quite that long. I think we've had in the region of like 2.5, 3 months since the end of last season. But you've definitely had some time because you were laying low for a bit as well, just not wanting to get run over in any final sweeps and info checks that whoever your employer was on that last mission may have done. You didn't want to be caught up in that net. So you had a bit of dedicated time to put into this new space. So we can absolutely say that that time has been put into salvaging some scrap up, and you've maybe done a few jobs and used that to buy raw materials, and you now have a decent workspace. So that's going to give you some form of bonus as well when you actually have access to it and can work at your home base. Then you'll be able to let's call it a +2 that you get to your so you've got basic tech. What other tech skills do you have?
Cyber
I think
tech
you
and-
have cyber tech and electronics.
I don't think that's part of the tech stuff. Let's look at my character sheet.
Okay.
Let's
But
see.
certainly for your basic and cyber tech roles, you'll get a +2 if you're doing them within the confines of your own personalized workshop, because you've got, while it's not the most advanced setup in the world, it's the tools that you want and everything is laid out how you need. So it's always, everyone's always that little bit more comfortable working in their own workspace, where you know where everything is and can get to it without any hassle and have things set up the way you want it.
Probably what I'd service there is cyber tech, basic tech, weapons tech, and I guess electronic security tech, like you mentioned. Like the vehicle stuff, I wouldn't do there, obviously. So I don't think it'd apply there. Those are probably the
vehicle
things I
stuff
work on.
Yeah, vehicle stuff is also maybe going to require some heavier machinery, so you could probably get the same bonus in that area, but you need to maybe invest a bit of cash into, like, putting in lift ramps and
That's what the garage
winches
is
for engine blocks and things.
Yeah.
You need a bit more heavy machinery for that, which is certainly doable. It's just even the raw materials nowadays are gonna set you back. So that's something for the future.
Yeah.
So
I pretty much spend my downtime here, just hanging out with Sally at the bar and just kind of in my little spot in the corner booth there, kind of fixing different tech that comes in. My background is from like a family repair shop, and inadvertently, it seems like I've kind of stumbled into that again, where as long as Sally's fine with whoever comes in, I'll fix gangers, I'll fix corpos. It doesn't really matter. I don't really, as long as they respect Sally in the bar, I'll fix whatever they bring in. And so that's kind of how I spend my downtime. And I probably call. Do we have details on what the tech is? Because I probably discussed it with Valentina and try to work something out.
go for it. Have that conversation.
All right, so I'll ring Valentina up and see if she wants to come down to the bar to chat about this tech she just brought in, or she wants me to look at.
Okay. You want to meet at the bar?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine working here, or I can or meeting here, or I can meet you up in the X Zone. I don't tend to travel up there too much, but with your invitation, I'm sure I can find my way.
I have some errands to run, so I don't mind having Vincent bring me down, and we can discuss what I have in mind.
Okay. So the corner.
What time's?
Just
time's good for you?
whatever. I'm just here most evenings, so I got some things I'm doing during the day this week, but I can meet you any of the evenings if you want to come by.
Don't really have anything planned for this evening.
Sounds good.
Say 5 sharp.
Sounds good. Meet you there.
See you then.
So the corner that I have set up has got like cables, like directly kind of cut a hole in the wall, and I'm like into like the hard line of the power of the building. I got various screens kind of set up with different diagnostics kind of running. Everything is pretty neat, but there's a couple shelves that just kind of have racks of components and things that are kind of stuck in. Various lights like kind of pulling down from the ceiling that I've kind of arranged to highlight a couple workbenches here and there. So it's kind of organized in a messy way. There's just a whole bunch of stuff going on, but everything has its place. And of course, I have my usual bourbon and cigar that I'm enjoying as you come in. Well, met Valentina. Good to finally meet you. Is there anything I can get you to drink at the bar? Or maybe are you into cigars? I don't know if that's something you would enjoy or not.
Not really into cigars. Whiskey on the rocks.
Whiskey, okay. Yeah, we have that mostly synthetic stuff here, although I can try to dig for something a little bit nicer given, I know you corpos tend to enjoy the finer things in life. I don't know if you'll be happy with this synth dreg that we drink on this side of the tracks over here.
I can make do with whatever you have.
Okay. I kind of waved to Sally and kind of point at what I'm drinking. And as far as synth stuff goes, it's on the higher end of synth stuff, but it's still not the best.
It'll do.
So I hear you got a job.
I do. So pretty much everything I do is like any other exec, is designed to get me further up the ladder, kind of get my reach closer to that brass ring, if you know what I mean. So what I'm having sent over your way is a cyber chair.
Cyber chair, interesting.
Yes. It's a prototype. It's not one of their premium top of the line models. So there's leeway to tinker around with it. I should tell you though that any proprietary or like next gen like upgrades they've already got planned for this model or for future models has been locked out. So you're getting the frame, your rudimentary cyber chair, but I wanted to see what you can dream up and come up with, so I can feed that up the chain and probably make a little bit of money for both of us.
Yeah, I could definitely take a look and see what we can do. This is pretty standard, as far as what I'm seeing from the specs, but we might be able to come up with some creative ideas here. Is it, so someone sits in this and they can, what is the plan here? What are they operating? What are they accessing with this chair?
Pretty much, the cyber chair can do anything you want it to do. You can tailor it to a netrunner. You can tailor it to a media where they can jack into any network and broadcast whatever. You can model it for techs, med techs, rockers. The beauty of the cyber chair, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, is you can use it in place of hard augmentation to the human body. So there is no you don't get that humanity loss.
Interesting. And my kind of ears pick up at this because it's something that I struggle with on a personal level, constantly trying to implant cyberware and dealing with humanity, the effects it has on my body. So I would probably, Panda, in the back of my mind, think that, maybe I can work out some efficiencies with the upload and broadcast based on the technology that Hijack and I picked up. Obviously, the crazy satellite network is off the table, but just some of the maybe subroutines and kind of background stuff to kind of make it efficient to do what it can do. Maybe I can increase the efficiency by 30% or something, based on the designs and kind of the ideas that of the technology of the orbital satellite technology that we picked up. That's kind of what.
Yeah.
Rewind a second. Do you have tech?
What's that?
Back it up a minute. You said you came up with some tech.
Well, that was an aside. I was talking with Panda, the GM, and so I would.
No, I'm in character. I'm talking to you about tech. So if you mentioned it to me, then my ears kind of perk up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mention the specific tech that we acquired. I'd probably say that
okay.
I was telling Panda that's kind of like what direction I'm going at. I would probably just say that, I'll work on some efficiency routines to see if I can make the upload a little bit faster, a little bit cleaner, a little bit more efficient. And that's probably where I'll start, because I think I can definitely make improvements on what you have here. And then if there's something specifically that you're looking for, we can kind of work together on coming up with maybe some new applications for it. Something that
I'm not going to limit. Yeah. I'm not going to limit you to how many upgrades you can come up with. Pretty much, it's this piece of tech is pretty universal. So whatever, like if you can come up with a couple different applications, I'm sure our media would find this very useful. Our solo, our net runner, whoever, you can even tailor this thing, this particular piece of tech to the average housewife or whatever. You can make a domestic, or you can make a fully military grade. So I leave it to you. Go crazy with it.
Interesting. So personally, I think this actually might be kind of handy in what I'm trying to do and build my own garage setup, having some kind of system to interface with everything, maybe building some kind of automated system for construction or designing of prototypes and things. That's what I'm kind of thinking in the back of my head. So, yeah, I think there's definitely potential here to create something that's useful. I think there is something that I was wondering if you can help me source that I've been trying to find.
What would that be?
That's a little bit out of my reach, but I thought it'd be something that you might have access to. Maybe not immediately, obviously, but in time. I'm trying to get my hands on some orbital crystal.
I could put some feelers out, see what I can come up with. If I can't find it, I'm sure Grigori would be able to hook us up, or I could source other fixers.
Okay. Yeah, I just figured with what you guys do in cybernetics and maybe some of the research arms, it's not easy to come by. It's pretty expensive, but with your kind of connections and the work that you guys do, maybe there might be some on a shelf somewhere that's not really being utilized that they can be put to better use. But yeah,
if you need it and to kind of put this feather in my cap, I will find it.
Sounds good.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, there are definitely things that you can do around those. If you want to, Valentina, if you want to put in some, put out some feelers or a requisition request for anything like that, then you can certainly do that and see what comes back. And Locke, if you mentioned about putting in, increasing efficiencies and maybe using some of the ideas from that old pre-calamity tech that you had dug out of that building in the hot zone. If it does occur to you that this might be a way that if you can get some of those higher quality components that you had unearthed. Now they have multiple uses, but if you were to say incorporate some of them into modifications that you did on this, then maybe Rocklin have the necessary resources and things if you were to give them access to it to then produce more of those, because they're very, very intricate components. This is why it's not stuff that's available on the general market. It may be the case that some of them can be to an extent mass produced. Not everything is going to be doable with today's tech, or they may just not know how to do it at this point. But that's definitely a way that things could go. Whether you want to give up that information to them, because it's certainly going to have more value to them than to you. Anything that you hand over, Rockland will then have access to, and sure, you will get something from it. But it depends where you fall on whether or not you want to give them access to the same stuff.
Yeah, I think I would.
That's something for you to sort out.
Okay, all right, we can talk about it later.
In your own, where it falls in your own moral compass and your personal goals.
Okay.
Okay. So at that point, what I think we'll do just before we move on to the next bit, we've sort of covered a little bit of what everyone's doing in the immediate time after last time's dangerous and confusing encounter. So I'd like to take a quick break, let everyone get a drink, nip to the bathroom if they want, and then we can come back and follow up a few more things, and then wrap it up. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Good.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Yes.
Right, chat. We will be back in 5-10 minutes. Thank you very much for sticking with us. I hope you're enjoying learning a little bit more about these characters rather than just seeing them beat up circus performers. And yeah, we will be back in a few. Hopefully we'll see you then. Cool.
Yeah, so I think everyone's still here, you guys, just so we got the break screen up, but they should be able to hear you, I believe.
I'm gonna get some coffee.
Yeah. Now is the time for anonymous swearing.
Swearing.
Yeah.
Boobies.
Well, I didn't mean you had to show us that, but right. Back in a couple, guys.
Are we on camera?
No, not yet.
Cool.
Still on voice.
I've just shoved down like 2 Twizzlers and I got 3 cups of spoonfuls of sugar in my coffee. If the caffeine doesn't work, the sugar will.
I'll stick to the beer.
My dog is giving me such a reproachful look.
What did you do or not do?
Oh,
You all back, or are we still waiting on Reg?
We're not back yet, so don't worry.
nah, she's just sitting in like Eric's spot and she's like always gets scolded for that because she always like curls up right before he lays down there. So like she's just going like, no, it's my spot. I look at your reproachfully, human. She's a cute little puppy.
So it's not just the standard, you're not currently rubbing my belly, so that's wrong. Reproachful look then.
Yeah, she's a bit Shibu Inu, so she has a little bit of that Doge boink kind of look.
All right. Video is live, just so you guys know.
Huzzah.
Oh, right.
Oops. There we go.
Hey, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us through that little break. So we are coming back to our players. So we've had a little bit of the immediate aftermath. Now, Harbog, your week is going a little slow on the business front. There haven't been many job offers. I mean, you've just had a decent payday and a little extra side job, but you're still, this is the start of a new month, and you always want to make a good start so that you have rent in the bank when it comes to the end, and you're not rushing around and offering cut price services which don't truly reflect your skills and ability and status. So you're probably on the lookout for any other ways that you can make any money. Do you have any particular contacts that you might reach out to, or would it be any of the people that you ran with last time? Or
Probably the people we ran with last time. Who is it? Ivan? Is that his name? Or Igor?
It was Grigori.
Grigori.
My stereotypical. I don't think I specified he was Russian necessarily, but he was. He definitely was. Yeah, Grigori, the monk. Yeah, if you want to give Grigori a quick call and see if he's got anything in the works for you, that's absolutely doable.
Yeah, give him a ring up. Ask him if there's any openings for a person with my set of skills is needed.
Okay, cool. Sorry, just putting something in the chat. So yeah, what time of day are you ringing Grigori? Would it
Probably be in
first thing of the day, in the evening?
Most likely in the evening, because I have a feeling he's not a morning person.
Wise choice, my friend. Wise choice. You give him a call. You have his number. Doesn't actually take long to pick up, so maybe 2 rings and then Tiger, my friend. What is it I can do for you?
I'm looking for opportunities to increase my cash flow. Do you know of any?
Who isn't? Who isn't? What else do we know each other for? I mean, don't get me wrong, you're a lovely person, but I too have bills to pay. Hmm. Let me take a look through my openings file and see what I can come up with. Goes quiet for a second, and for maybe 30 seconds or so, and you're not sure. Like you've dealt with Grigori on a couple of occasions now, and you're never sure how much of what he does is genuine behavior and how much is a carefully planned act. So you don't know whether he's actually looking for something or whether he already has something in mind and he's just sitting there drumming his fingers on the table, wanting to make it seem like he wasn't waiting for you to call. So comes back now. We have. I think I have a couple of opportunities you could admirably fill, my friend. There is a corporate caravan heading out with some sensitive information. So is limited size convoy. Only a few vehicles. I don't have exact specifics, but they want only the highest grade of security on there. We could see about getting you a place on there. I mean, I'm sure I remember your much as you love your sword, you're not above using firearms. Yes.
I can use quite a bit of weapons.
Good, good. Yes, that is on the table, and and I don't. Well, there is the closer to homework. I mean, it doesn't pay as much, but it's also, you know, it doesn't involve long-term travel. We have a little private investigator work. You know, the usual. I don't have the exact details, but it's going to be the oh, my husband is cheating on me. Please get me pictures of his mistress so I can own the house. Or, you know, oh, I believe that my employee is stealing from the company. Please do the accounting work that I can't. They're so tiresome. But you know, it tends to pay quickly, less risk of getting your face blown off. You know, these things matter to some people.
I'm afraid my skill set is not towards those of which you seek. I'm not so much an investigator as more of a, how you'd say, a hammer.
Of course. I always like to give you the option. I don't make assumptions, my friend.
I do appreciate that.
You are many layered, like an onion made of cheese and painted green. It's metaphor. You'll work it out. It's very, very deep.
I've never heard of this metaphor before, but then again, I have not been in this country for very long.
True. I've been here too long. If only I could go home. But I can't because of people like this. And you hear it slam and a yelp of pain. And there's clearly, you know, he's not alone. These untrustworthy motherfuckers. always thinking they know better than old Grigori. He's been around forever. He's old, he's slow, he doesn't know what he's doing. Shut up when I'm talking. And yes, they think that they're young and they're smart and they know. Do they not know how I got to this age? Do they not know I know all these tricks? I have done them myself. I have received my beatings and my scars. I have learned. This one, will he ever learn? You tell me. Uh, heads or tails? Heads or tails?
I will always go with tails.
Tails! Good, good, good. Get his pants down, boys. 1 second, 1 second. Give me a perception check.
Oh boy. Perception.
Okay, that'll do. As an experienced solo, you are very familiar with the sound of the spring pin being removed from a grenade. And then you hear some struggling, and then you hear Grigori's voice come back, just, stop whining. Clench, clench. Right, out in the street with you. Keep hold of it tight, boy. And you hear sounds of like furniture being knocked aside, and then like a door slamming, and you can hear protestations and struggling, and then after there's almost silence. You feel like you can distantly hear footsteps, and then after about 15, 16 seconds, there's a slightly more distant and muffled, definite sound of that's an explosion. What's he do? See, he's still got 1 foot. He's fine.
And I'm sure people have heard your message loud and clear.
Indeed, indeed. And maybe he'll drag himself to medical attention before he bleeds out. So I'm generous that way. Anyway, so you want this? You want me to put your name forward for this convoy job?
If you could, I would appreciate you doing the needful for me.
I can certainly manage this. Let me see. This is good news, my friend. Good news indeed. You have a suitcase ready, yes. I kid, you need no suitcase. You can be here in within the hour.
I could.
Good. They have just moved up the timetable. You know how these things are. High security convoys. They don't give you the exact details. They say it's a last minute change, but it's bullshit just to see if old Grigori is working both sides and selling the information. So tiresome. So predictable. Be here within the hour, and as a result, they have upped the pay for the short time scale. So we can have you, everything goes to plan, we can have you back, I think, tomorrow night, and 400 eddies richer. How does that sound?
Most excellent, my friend. I appreciate the offer and the help you have given me.
I appreciate your reliability. Always good to know we have a cold-blooded cutthroat ready to do whatever we want. Okay.
Yes.
Be here then.
Okay.
And the call cuts off.
He hangs up and gets whatever gear he can together and heads out the door.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to just, as this is a bit of an extra job, we're just going to abstract this and give me two things. Give me an evasion roll and a whatever type of firearms you prefer roll.
Alrighty. There's an invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So you offer some very effective guarding services. You are when the convoy is inevitably hit, and there's this slight inkling at the back of your mind. You as one of the multiple vehicles passes by, you just have this little flash of did I see one of those guys previously in ricochets with Grigori one time a couple of months ago? Was that, or am I imagining it? But you don't know. But when the convoy does inevitably get hit, you put up a very good showing, and you're effective in taking down the opposition. You do, however, one of them gets a lucky hit in, and let's see. Okay, your left ankle catches around. So fortunately, this is a cavalry mission. You're mounted the entire way, so once it's strapped up, then it's not too much of an issue because you're not really leaving the vehicle. So you do take that injury, and at the end of it, it all gets sorted out. But you do you're going to have pain for a couple of days while that all settles down and heals up. But it's nothing that's going to impact you mechanically.
Okay.
And you net yourself that extra money as promised.
Excellent.
Give me another perception check. Sorry about this. Just want to see, rather than making my own arbitrary choice, let the dice decide for me.
Eesh.
Okay, yeah, you have no idea.
No clue.
You have no clue really whether you were just imagining it or whether this person that you took a shot. I mean, you killed the guy. You got a clean headshot on him. But while you were drawing that bead, you just weren't sure whether you'd seen him before, and whether it was just suggestion from the fact that Grigori had mentioned, people always expect double crosses and so on. But you've no idea whether that was just deja vu, whether it was just suggestibility, or whether you really knew him. And even if the convoy had stopped, rather than just carried on going and leaving their bodies by the path, you wouldn't have been able to identify him once your bullet passed through his face. So yeah, you've no further information on that front, I'm afraid.
No worries. He probably passed it off as like a okay.
Even if he had worked with Grigori, he's a freelancer.
Exactly.
There are lots of them in Night City. Who says that they don't work for multiple fixers?
Why would Grigori do that to me?
Yeah,
He's my friend.
Grigori has no exclusivity clause. He doesn't insist that people only work for him. So, yeah, it could be entirely coincidence.
Until the fourth time.
Yeah. Well, that's then that's a little bit different. So while you're off doing that, that basically takes up a day and a half. You leave that afternoon, late afternoon, and you don't get back until about 2 a.m. The following, well, technically the day after next. But yeah, you come back very late night. That takes up a couple of days of your time. In the meantime, Wanda, you've had some good results from this. You had some surprising pickups, and a couple of people that you wouldn't expect commented or mentioned or reblogged your article that you put out there. So that seems to be going well. You have had a couple of leads dropped to you, and you're working on a little bit of follow-up work because you're still trying to promote yourself, and while that article's still fresh, you're trying to push it and show to people that you're doing really cutting edge live news rather than sitting behind a desk somewhere and getting tips from other people. You're actually going out there and finding it firsthand. So as you're working on that, where you live, is it an apartment that you're in? Is it a container? Where are you living at the moment? And I think we may have lost our media.
Oh, looks like she's moving. Are you muted?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, yeah, I can double mute on my thing. I thought you could hear me.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I don't know whether you heard what I was saying there, so I'll just go back through it. So while you're pushing your new article and trying to sell it and sort of sell your new hard ass image, and you're getting news from the front lines type of in the thick of it reporting style, you had a couple of tips that you might look into later. You might not, depends what happens with them. But where are you while you're busy working on your promotion? Where are you living at the moment? Is it an apartment? Is it a container? What's your current accommodation like?
Well, she has some standards, so she has an apartment, a tiny one, but an apartment.
Okay. So it's a tiny little apartment. It's for the money in Night City, it's it's insecure in terms of there's no security, but it's also relatively secure in terms of no one expects anyone in places like this to have anything worth stealing. So it's that kind of insecure security level that you're looking at. So you're working away maybe 2 nights after the actual event, and you're now working on spinning the article. It's probably reached most of the people it's going to reach in the immediate future, because newer things are taking the place of it in the algorithms, and it'll just get pushed further and down as it gets. 2 days is very old news nowadays. But you're trying to position it and make sure it comes across in the right way, and selling it on a couple of blogs, and you also give me a perception check, please, as you're busily working away.
Perception.
Okay, so that's a 5 that comes out to.
That's
So
not good.
that's okay. I'm not going to go, oh, you rolled a 5 on perception, your character's dead now. That's it. You don't notice the whoopee cushion landmine as you sit down on the toilet seat, and too many explosives near backsides. I need to come up with a different meme. Okay. So you're sat there working away one night, and you're really focused, but you're kind of in your own world, and really, the writing is everything. It's not it. it's important that you get this done. You've not really slept much the last couple of days because you've been focusing on getting the work out while it's still relevant and getting that image push, making sure it's all coming across the way that you want it and spinning it your way. Not letting anyone take control of the narrative and sell it as something it wasn't, or you're pushing down the sort of working for a corporation angle and pushing it up the we dealt with a public menace and they'd killed so many innocent working people who were just truck drivers or innocent bystanders or whatever, and all to fuel their stage fantasy weird shenanigans. So as you're engrossed in this and you're in a little bit of an online battle with a couple of trolls and just smashing them down hard left and right, so you don't notice the sound behind you of your window with the like busted clasp on it that looks like it's closed but doesn't actually secure anything, starting to slide up. Like normally, it's quite sticky and it's not made of wood because wood's actually very expensive, but it's an old like PVC frame that jams a lot when you try to get it open. But still, somehow this has been silently or silently enough opened, and suddenly you feel a jab right in the kidneys.
Well, you said you wasn't gonna whoopee cushion kill me.
I haven't.
I'm not dead yet, I guess.
Yeah, you're at home, and I'm gonna take a little bit of editorial control here and say that you're not armored up at the moment. So you take 6 points of damage, which is, you don't have any armor to mitigate that.
And this is why I healed.
Yep. You're nice and you're at full strength for this. But you feel that.
I like my kidney.
You feel that, unfortunately, that means that you then get to make an evasion roll against the second one as it comes in. So from behind you, it's like someone just grabs your shoulder, and it's like a prison shanking. It's a small blade goes into your side and draws back and tries to do the same again. And fortunately, your trained journalistic reflexes mean that you know that this sort of thing can happen at any time, and you pretty much fall off the chair and roll, like combat roll off to the side. And this person wasn't expecting you to react as fast, and you turn around and you're getting up. Now you're not stupid. You live in Night City, so I'm gonna say that you had your gun within reach. That you don't just decide to. No one puts a gun in a safe in Night City. There aren't those sort of regulations. So the gun was on your desk, and you did reflexively, grab it up as you dove off to the left. You just grab with the right, dive to the left. So, give me an initiative roll.
Aye, sir. Let me, I'm not seeing my token on the board.
It's fine. We don't need an initiative order because there's only as you get up, there's only the two of you in the room, so it's not going to be that difficult. It's just which of you reacts fastest.
Okay, odds or evens. Then we can decide this. You choose odds or evens, and I roll like a d6.
Okay. Can you not do initiative without your token on?
I can't. It doesn't do that.
Right.
Well, I can like throw it on the.
Right. Well, don't worry. They're going quite slowly anyway, so don't worry about it. You are first, so you come up and you sort of come up into a crouch, into a firing position, and you're faster than this figure ever would have predicted. And in front of you, you see. Honestly, it's a kid. You would say they're about 16, and they're wearing like this sort of lycra outfit, sort of a bright red with gold and yellow bits on it, and then black trunks to it, and holding this sharp, maybe only 6-inch long knife, which is dripping with your blood. And the kid he's advancing on you. What do you want to do?
Well, my first instinct is to shoot his ass. My second interest is going, I have a camera in my head. Like, I can't exactly get away with that.
Hey, I say kid, he's 16. He's he's an adult. He's responsible for his own decisions, and you're in Night City. That's entirely legitimate self-defense. Having a camera in your head, in fact, works in your favor. But it's up to you what you do with it.
I'm gonna try the technique I did last time, and I'm gonna do a deduction to see if I can emotionally whip this guy down.
Okay. Very, very quick appraisal of the situation, and you see the ridiculous outfit the kid's wearing. The fact that that fire escape rusted and fell away long ago. So you're on the 4th floor. He's climbed up an old brickwork wall and up to your window silently. He's wearing a stupid outfit. It doesn't take much to put together. He was probably, linked to what happened a couple of days ago. And the look on his face, there's something personal about this. You reckon that this kid probably had a relative, maybe a parent, and that they were part of that circus.
Yeah, I had a suspicion. Okay,
So what do you want to do with that information?
Okay, kid, there's just gonna be one chance at this. I know you hate me. You have a lot of reason to hate me, but do you hate me enough to die? That's really the question here. Because you've already shanked me, so I have more than enough reason to kill you. And I understand that you have more than enough reason to hate me, but you're gonna either fuck off or die. So you gotta choose that. I guess,
Okay.
and then I don't know what the role would do with that.
Well, you've actually used a good broad range there, so I can be sold on a few things. You can have that as intimidation, but if it's better for you, that could also be some form of persuasion, because really you're trying to convince him of a better course of action and to see the error of what the choices he's made up to this point. Maybe some form of negotiation or something. What works best for you?
I'm looking through my things and seeing which ones I actually have. Sorry, I always do this. I got conversation to stealth, not the contortionist, no. I'm not seeing it.
Let me take a look. Don't worry. The skills that we need are all there. Just find the right one for you. So,
Yeah.
skills tab.
Conversation. Interrogation. Personal.
So you could,
Okay, I guess I'll do persuasion. I think I found it.
yeah. You know what I'm going to say is if you. Oh, sorry. It's being weird. So if you want to throw 2 points of luck at that, because at the minute you're at a dead heat.
Very good.
So if you spend 2 points of luck retroactively, that will put you over the top because currently he's the defender, so he would win on the tie.
Yeah, I'll put the look in there.
Right, you put the luck in. So you stare this kid down. You just tell it like it is, and you can see him tensing as if he's going to spring at you still, and he tenses and he does a couple of like jerk moves to see how you react, and you squarely keep your firing stance, keep trained on him, but you don't overreact and twitch and pull the trigger the second that he jerks, and you can see something in his eyes. It's like he wants you to pull the trigger, but he doesn't leap.
Oh, you poor baby. I'm the last person you want a hug from. But I do know somebody who can help. Now, I'm not going to be foolish enough to turn my back on you, so if you can walk by the window, I can get you a card with somebody who can help. Like, they don't owe me favors, but they don't owe me a beating either, so they're a neutral party. Would that be acceptable, kid?
He's staring you down. He's trying to give you a death stare, but this is a 16-year-old skinny, underfed kid, and you can just see the tears welling up in his eyes. And let's see what he does. He looks like he's trying to decide between rushing you and running and jumping out the window. And then just after like 10 seconds or so of silence after you've said this, it's like all the energy and life goes out of him, and he just crumples. He deflates and just crumples onto the floor, and he's knelt over, and the knife falls to the ground, and there's no noise coming from him, but you can see his back moving up and down, and you can see like the dark splashes as his tears are hitting the dirty floor of your apartment.
I weep even though I do not deserve to weep for you, and I'm sorry for that. So, you look hungry. I have enough for a sandwich, and I think you could get a glass of water. But if you stab me, I'm gonna give you stab me again, I'm gonna give you a whack around the head, okay? And she walks into the kitchen and starts making a sandwich. Limping a little bit of just like, gonna make this sandwich, and then I'm gonna patch myself up, give him something to do.
He doesn't move from where he is, but as you walk into the kitchen, or your tiny little kitchen area, then you hear a thud and a clatter on across the floor, and he's tossed the knife across into the kitchen.
Well,
Spreading your blood across your kitchen floor.
I'm gonna take this as a good thing. I needed to mop anyway. I appreciate it. I don't think you'd like me to call you kid, so what would you like me to call you?
No, I'm not going to do that. But...
What were you gonna say, Death Stalker or something?
No. Just never mind. You can look at chat later. That's totally not what I was doing, except it might have been. So he looks down. He tries to raise his head, and then it's like it's too difficult to do, and he just. Jamie, I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't know what to do.
Well, I'm not gonna say it's all right because Jamie, frankly, stabbing, very rarely all right. But I forgive you. Like, I understand being in a dark place, and I did you wrong, even though I didn't mean to. So, anyway, you might have just come here for my corpse, but if there's anything else you need, like information that's reasonable, I am willing to give that. But if you just need to sit on my couch for a little bit, eat a sandwich and get some water, that's fine too. But I'm gonna have to stitch myself up at one point.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. And at your suggestion of the couch, he almost crawls over there. It's like he just all the energy that he clearly had to scale a building and silently creep into your window and shank you has just left him entirely, and he drags himself over to the couch as you suggest it, and he curls up there, like just sitting. He's hugging his knees, and you can see is still the movements of like silent crying.
Okay, so I come in, I put a plate on the counter with a drink, and then I don't leave him any knives. I take the knife that's on the floor with me, and then I go to get the first aid kit. So I'm pretty sure I have a first aid roll.
Yeah, I think everybody has first aid, so you should be able to do something about
the kidney. Like, I'm probably gonna have to get that replaced at some point.
I mean, you know what? Actually, it's not just give me a D10 roll, and as long as it's not a 1, then we'll gloss over things.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. You got it. Yeah. So this is very basic. Much as that's what he was aiming for, he's not actually hit anything vital. You can't feel toxins spreading through your body. Nothing's shutting down. So you bandage yourself up, and you figure it will be, it'll heal itself up. It's not going to hinder you getting around. If you really wanted, you could probably because it's only a couple of days later, you could probably get away with going back to a Rockland clinic and saying, "Oh, one of these injuries from when I was in the other day just reopened, and can you patch it back up again?" But you don't really need to. A few nights sleep and get yourself some proper food for a change, and you should be functionally fine. Whether it'll leave a scar or not, you don't know.
Okay. Okay, so I go back into the room and I am going to very gently interrogate this kid. Just a little bit of kindness here and there. Make sure that I don't set him off. Going "You killed my brother, prepare to die." I don't want that. I want calmness. Fucking. Okay, my brain just did a blue screen of death. What was I doing?
You were going to try interrogate. You can use any other. That may have just been a description rather than a particular skill you were picking. You do have a bit in interrogation. You could also use conversation if you wanted, or you can.
I have more in conversation.
Yeah, if you want to give me an interrogation skill check as well. So that's not bad for a conversation skill check. I know you've not rolled that well, but you have a decent stat for it. Okay, so because I'm using the interrogation as not exactly you're not beating information out of him, but it means you know how to sort of take a look at his situation and judge which questions are actually going to get you to the answers that you want, rather than necessarily putting him under a spotlight and rubbing salt in his wounds and things. So you, with that role, you get out of him. You establish that his dad was part of the circus, and so was he. And that his dad, you guys took him out when you were down there, and
yeah, there's probably video evidence of it too.
Well, he didn't know what to do. He was just sort of roaming the streets, basically, looking for what he was going to do now he's on his own. And then he saw someone with a scream sheet which happened to feature your article. So then he asked around, and because your articles make reference to the area where you live, and that you live amongst the citizens, and you're stuck up in the corporate zone, and you're one of the people, then some of your references make it easier to sort of track down what exact area you live in. And then he asked around, and he's a skinny little kid, and so people didn't think much when he was asking questions about how to find the nice lady who does the news stories. And someone eventually gave up something that led to your building, and then he watched the building until he saw you go in and found out where you lived, because he didn't know what to do. But once he saw the person that, or one of the people that he thought of as responsible for his dad's death, then he thought, well, that's, now I know what I'm going to do. He suddenly had a purpose. But as you can see, his heart wasn't really in it. It was just this is what the universe presented to him, and he grabbed any sort of meaning that he could. But he doesn't really want to necessarily kill people, and he knows that he knows deep down that what his dad was doing wasn't right. His dad was a little on the unhinged side. Like, Jamie has been training 14 to 16 hours a day since he was 3 years old to join the circus. So he's skinny, but he's like wiry acrobat skinny. He's really, for a malnourished sewer-born kid.
Got
He's
muscles.
yeah, he's actually surprisingly in good shape. He's not beefy. He's not massively strong, but he's got. You can tell if he was in more of a mental condition to do it, he'd probably have a lot more poise. And you think about the fact that he scaled that building without even thinking about it, with no equipment or anything like that. So his dad was a bit on the obsessive side, and he recognizes that maybe that wasn't normal, but he needed something to do. He needed something to act when he felt like the world around him was just stuck in a place where he couldn't affect anything. And you draw these details out of him, and as he's talking, he's clearly, like, you can tell that he wasn't massively well fed anyway, and he probably hasn't eaten in the time since you guys were down there 2-3 days ago. And he eats a couple of bites out of that sandwich, but he doesn't even manage to finish it before he sort of drifts off mid-sentence, curled up on your sofa. And unless there's anything that you immediately want to do or contact anyone, then we will leave that there. Is there anything that you want to do to follow up on that?
Well, I'm sorry, like my maternal instincts are just like, take care of small one. It's okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a dickhead for changing modes on you like that, but what can I say?
No,
I
it's
like to
good
have different
storytelling.
types of storytelling.
So I'm just well, I will send out like a thing, like a little text to the monk of just like, hey, can you send me a text in an hour? And if I don't respond, can you make sure I'm not dead? But other than that, because like, yeah, like the kid needs help, but emotionally unstable kid, I don't trust.
Yeah, that's fine. You set up some sort of dead man switch arrangement with Grigori. Like, if I don't check in every 12 hours, then here's a picture of the kid that you need to track down and mercilessly slay to avenge my killing. And I'll set up an escrow account to pay for it, because I want my revenge from the grave. Damn it!
It's like, you get one chance at mercy.
Good. That's one more than a lot of people would offer. Okay. So with that, we can draw a line over that there, and you can decide what you want to do ongoing there. I'm not going to make you pick immediately because I'm already evil for throwing that at you. And so as that's going on in a different part of the city, Valentina, what is now you've had your you had your debrief, you got your bonus for your team, which was nice. What are your immediate plans after that? You've had a chat up with Locke, and you've made the arrangements for. It's going to take a couple of weeks for that equipment to come through, as we said. But you've got everything. You've got all the wheels in motion. You're used to. You're an expert at this. You having 19 plates spinning at once is just where you live. That's your wheelhouse. So all your immediate plans are on the go and sort of running along. What's next for you? Do you want to make use of the psychological services kindly offered by your corporation? Do you want to look for your next angle straight away? Do you not have time for any of this softly catchy monkey psychobabble bullshit? What's your feeling?
Well, I'm one of those one of the party. I'm
Sorry,
one of the
go
party
ahead.
members on the low end of the spectrum as far as humanity. So I'm gonna go and go see the shrinks.
Okay, cool. As with everyone else, as I mentioned before, if you want to, there is the option to you can pay for the upgrade step to have that. It's the standard level psychotherapy, but you can pay the difference and in the same time receive double the effect. It's entirely up to you what you want to do with that.
How much is the upgrade?
Let me see. Is my PDF going to work now? Actually, I think I have it on one of the quick reference sheets, so that may be better. Here we are. So, therapy. Okay, so it usually costs. So it costs. This was a pretty good bonus that you guys got, because as standard, the normal humanity loss recovery means that it costs 500 eddies at a standard level, commercially anyway. It normally costs 1,000 for the higher grade treatment. However, because it's internal, you'll get it. You'll get the upgrade. You'll get the upgrade at cost price. So it'll cost you 400 eddies extra if you want to roll. And I was wrong with the humanity loss there. If you want to get the extra, the standard is 2d6. And that's included with your bonus. For 400, you'll get 4d6 humanity back, which also means that when Ariel comes back, then she's got another d6 that she recovers.
Oh, go ahead and plus that.
Okay, cool. So, roll away. Nice. So for 400 eddies, you get 16 humanity back. So that's like a point and a half of empathy. Very nice. And Ariel, we just checked things, and it turns out I had misremembered when I was looking for the details. So you actually get a further d6 humanity back as well. So if you want to, yeah. So if you want to roll that.
R/1d6.
There you go. So you get another 4, so that takes you to 61, if I remember correctly. Because you were at 55 before, and you got 2 before, and another 4 now. So,
Thank you.
So you're doing pretty okay. Right. And maybe some of that trauma therapy will also be talking through I just seem to have been, I had an attempted murder, and now the kid's asleep on my couch and I don't know what to do. That may or may not come up with your therapist. That's it. That'll be in your court.
Help! I've adopted an attempted murder.
Standard fare for Night City. So Raven, yeah. So you take up the offer and the discount on the premium corporate mental health services, and you've you're doing quite well in your sessions. You feel like that's having a real impact on how you see the world and normalizing things a bit for you. What would you like to do with the rest of your time? Because that takes up a few hours a day. It's not done instantly, but it doesn't take up all of your time. So what else are you doing in that period?
Business as usual. Check back in with my actual team back in the lab. Kind of call them together. Brainstorm. Just tell them, okay. I need options, guys. I want you to put your heads together collectively, and give me ideas as far as new applications as for cybernetics. I was thinking maybe something like a subbrain that could operate you should you be knocked unconscious in the middle of a firefight that could like operate your skeletal system or operate your body subconsciously and drag you to safety, something like that.
So you want like an autopilot recovery, return to base in case of medical emergency type thing.
Yeah, just drag you to safety, something. So and then something that can access your agent and like either call your team members or call NCPD or whatever to get you out of the thick of the fight and actually save your asses.
Nice. Okay. Well, let's see what they think of those ideas and what they come up with. Okay. So one of those ideas. So particularly the one about the having that autopilot. The if the operator goes down, it takes them to a safe location. Particularly they're thinking of someone starts workshopping that idea and they speak to someone in marketing because they have this idea for maybe they could do a tie-in with like trauma team where maybe you get a discount on plans because there's an agreement, because normally there's a limitation to where they will go based on the level of your coverage with them. So maybe you can get plans at a better level because you have this autopilot system, so it guarantees that it will automatically take you out of anywhere that's designated a combat zone, or it will get you above ground if you're underground, or it will get you to the roof of a building so you can be picked up, so that they don't have to fight through the same level of opposition. And someone thinks that's a really good idea, and they're going to sort of run with it. And you get a nice little 250 cred bonus drops into your account, and it's marked as there's nothing that particularly. There's no notation with it. You don't get any warning that it's there, but the account that it comes from is tagged as marketing. So you figure it's probably an evolution of that idea, and that's normally the signal that in the corporate world, that's the point where someone above you has seen your good idea and decided to go, that's mine now. I'm taking credit for this. Well done, you. Have your little scraps. And I'm going to take this forward, and it's nothing to do with you now. And if you ever claim it was your idea, then I'm going to sue your ass. So that's, the
name of the game.
It's standard practice, but at the same time, you still get something out of it, and it's part of the deal with working for the company. Your brain, your ideas, your expertise, all belong to them. Any time of the day, not just while you're in, on the clock and in the building. If you wake up at 2 a.m. and have an idea, you're still a corporate employee, and everything that you think is their property.
It's understandable. I mean, one of these days, I'll be the ones. I'll be one of the ones stealing ideas from other people. So
that's the idea.
That's how the game's played.
Yeah. You climb the hill and shit rolls down, and you get the nice clean air at the top, and leave all the crap to everybody else below you. It's the dream, damn it.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're spending some time doing that, and so as that's going on, I presume you sort of check in with Locke and see if he's come up with anything, any sort of plans for when the when those materials arrive. See if you know what he intends to maybe look at trying with it.
Actually, I wanted to check on his request, that item that he needed. See if any of my feelers came back.
Yeah, give me a. Well, what do you feel like? What sort of tactic do you want to take to try and speed that up? Are you going to try and bully someone into it? Are you going to try and be nice about it and flutter your eyelids at someone, see if you can get the timetable moved up and things rolling a little quicker? What's Valentina's preferred approach for these things?
For bribery. Grease the wheels.
Bribery works. Give me a bribery roll. Okay. With that then, not only do you know exactly who to speak to, you don't think you're thinking within the normal corporate structure and going through the proper channels. That's for amateurs. You know exactly where the real things happen, and you, rather than going and trying to get approval for things and trying to get timescales moved up and things rushed through, if you go and deal with the actual people who move these things around on the ground and just get it done, then it's better to get forgiveness than permission, and it's a lot cheaper as well. So, for the princely sum of 30 credits, slipped in cash-wise or just in a couple of bought drinks for a certain truck driver, and the foreman who sees to it that the wrong crate gets loaded ahead of where it should be, or it gets shipped in and it's supposed to go to R&D, who go through the redaction process and see about covering up anything that's super top secret, and instead of getting shipped to them, it goes straight back out again and gets delivered to the workshop. So in 3 days, you have it there, and it costs you a whole 30 creds. Eddie's, damn it, wrong game system. I'm a pain for forgetting things like that. So it costs you 30 eddies, but it arrives there. And you know what? We'll say it's 3 days after the initial request, not 3 days from now. So it's within that first week of downtime after your initial mission, and at the same time, it's going to arrive there without all the little corporate secrets. I mean, there are measures to protect them anyway, but there's no special cover-up work done. So there are things on there which are maybe pre-released. They haven't been seen on the open market yet, and those features will still be intact. They would have been removed, disabled, covered up, but that part doesn't happen because you've worked your executive magic. You have nicely skipped that step, and the paperwork will still say it went to the right places. But Locke, you have this fully functioning prototype cyber chair to play with as you wish.
I was actually he made a request for a part also.
It's the orbital crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a little more difficult, but You know, give me a separate bribery check for that.
Boo.
I'm not giving you both for 30 credits. That was a really good check, but I want a repeat of it. Thank you very much.
Alrighty.
Nice. Okay.
Okay, I'll take that too.
Throw in a further 10 credits, and you know what? It happens that in this stuff is normally, it's very, very restricted. You would expect it, having to be shipped from a certain, research place that's way out of the way, heavily guarded. As it happens, they have a supply here in NC, and within the space of a day, for 10 credits this time, you can have the right ears whispered into, and just you speak to the logistics manager and just say, look, this is supposed to come through, and it's going to take 2 weeks, but actually, you can probably earn yourself a bit of a bonus, because if you point out that we can avoid the shipping costs from coming across here. It's currently in South Carolina, and an armored convoy coming up here, and that very limited space being taken up by this material, while other material which is already here in the city is being shipped elsewhere. That makes no sense. Efficiencies, and limiting the amount of transportation you can do, and it's better for security as well, because it's not having to move that distance. And he just buys straight into it. So for 10 credits, you get it here the next day.
Done and done.
You are the corporate magician. You are the logistics whisperer.
Make things happen, and it also looks good for me. So win-win.
So there you go. Locke, in much better timescales than you were expecting, you have these items delivered to your warehouse. Or
Yeah,
to
I don't
workspace.
I don't particularly care for execs, but they definitely have resources and access that I can't take for granted. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So definitely super convenient to be able to get that stuff. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a look at the chair and see what I can do. I'm gonna try to use my invention expertise to take a look at the systems that it has currently set up for communications, and see if there's a way that I can adapt some of the technologies from the data that Hijack and I have. Obviously, it's not going to work off of. I don't want to give away the farm or anything, and I don't even know if I could. But just trying to look for efficiencies based on some old systems that were perhaps lost that I can kind of incorporate.
Yeah, okay. Give me a roll, and we can definitely come up with something around that.
All right, so I'm going to use some luck as well. So I'm going to use 4 points of luck, and I'm going to work in my little workshop area, which should also give me a +2. So that'll give me a total of +6 to this. And let me roll then. A character skill. I haven't done this yet, so hopefully this math is correct.
We shall see, but you've got some nice bonuses to start with. Oh.
Yeah, so that'd be a 29, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. So that is a pretty disgusting roll. So a couple of things. So it's just to be absolutely sure, you're looking at the possible other applications for the satellite tech, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it has probably just some ways of working that was lost to us for a while of how the technology is able to interface with itself, and so I'm just trying to find ways that, um, given the large data repository that we have, and how it was a prototype that was, I'm guessing, pretty efficient at what it did, and seeing if there's a way I can apply that to what we have. Obviously, I can't tap into the satellite network. That's not what I want to do anyway. But maybe if there's something I can learn from that data and apply it here and try to develop a new way for this chair to communicate, that's more efficient. I'm not looking to remake everything, but maybe there's a way I can make it work better than it is.
Yeah. There are a couple of things that occur to you. So based on this very old tech, now people back then knew what they were doing, and some of the things which may not have excited them at the time are really, really important in the time of the red. So you've got two angles that you can go at this from the things that you're seeing, two that seem to you like stand out. No one does this yet. Options. You can go down the route of literal efficiency. So the circuitry, the power draw within these satellites, because they're made to be self-sustaining, and they do have effectively a functionally tiny nuclear reactor on board, or they would have done if they still exist. But it's about, because they're stealth tech, it's about minimizing how much power is actually output over a time and maximizing the efficiency of that power usage. So you think you could use this, it will take you time, but you could use this to do one of two things: either massively increase the battery life of these units so they don't need to be recharged nearly as often. That's one thing. Or you can use the same, and that could also lead to the option of having ones with similar battery life, but then they can be less bulky units. They don't need as much space for power storage and cabling and so on. Or you could stay with the same basic architecture it has already and be channeling more power in the same space in a relatively safe manner, because that's difficult to do without turning the thing into a walking bomb. If you put in a battery that's too big, that raises the possibility of it's an easy target for someone to rupture and either make it explode or just make it non-functional and take the machine out. But you think in that same space with a battery of a much more efficient design and cabling and circuitry which carries it better, you think you could get this thing to be faster and probably carry a greater weight as well, which leaves more room for further modifications and things that you can add onto it because it can carry that extra heft. So those are options that you have available to you.
So it could be more efficient with its power draw, last longer, or we can up the amperage and it can pack a lot more punch. It's one or the other. Okay.
Yeah. You can go a completely different angle, and this is something that you think Hijack's been looking into as well, is the actual data delivery system. Now this is quite specific, but because this system uses basically long distance, it's a laser connection. It's like having a fiber optic cable without the cable. and it uses precision lasers to transmit that information as a communications method, and that's how it was. That's how these were theoretically able to access systems from a great distance.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that it's possible, even if you came out to the company and said, look, I have these schematics, you don't think that you would be able to work with them on something of the same scale as the original tech. You think if you showed that to them, quite frankly, they would probably shoot you in the head and take it for themselves. And then whether or not they got it working or not, you wouldn't be around to find out. But you think you can take the principles and use it over a shorter distance. So you could create a connection for a netrunner, which would effectively not need the physical cables. So it doesn't have that issue of when someone's jacked into a system, because you physically plug into a system. So you plug into when you've got a smart gun, that links through a cable. When you're jacking into a net architecture, that's through a physical cable. You think you could do this through a short range precision laser, and you could transfer information that way, and that would mean that there's no way for anyone to, because these lasers aren't actually in a visible spectrum. It would be easier to do it covertly, and it would mean that someone can't just come along and yank the cables out if they physically get to you. They would have to actually disable the equipment in order to break your connection to the system.
Yeah, given
there are
that's
definitely there are net runners out there who would be interested in that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that maybe Hijack and I can work on. Given that it's something that he's doing, I wouldn't want to kind of take his development from out from under him and then resell it. So I think what I'll probably take back then is the increased capacity. So increased efficiency, basically either they can last a lot longer, or we can increase the output by quite a bit to carry a better payload. And I'll leave Valentina to decide on which way that she wants me to develop it. And that's probably so. I guess I'll call up Valentina, and assuming that she picks up, I'd tell her that I've been working on her chair, and I think I've come up with some developments that might interest her.
Okay, what do you have for me?
So I've been taking a look at this, and I think we can increase the efficiency, and I'll leave it up to you on what direction you think that your team would benefit the most from. We can either increase the efficiency, thereby increasing the battery life, the durability of the machine, or we can increase the power output and enable it to carry a better payload. And I'll leave it up to you on which direction you think would be best. Or I suppose, given the application, we could figure out how to alter the chairs to do either one. But for this particular prototype unit that you had sent over, I can make one of those alterations for you.
Increase efficiency for now. Keep the other idea on the back burner. We can explore that. Should I be able to procure another chair for you to experiment on for that second idea? Kind of kills two birds with one stone.
All right.
And it gives us the option to make more money off of what they're going to give us.
Absolutely. Let me know when you're ready to pull the trigger on the second alterations for increasing the power output, and I'll get to work on that. But for the meantime, I'll get this chair working more efficiently and get it sent up to you back up at your offices. So.
Okay, sounds good. Just let me know when it's ready for pickup.
Sounds good. Should be about a week or so.
Alrighty.
Cool. So that will be an ongoing project. You have those ideas from your sort of first initial look over and strip down of the system, and comparing it to this tech that you have access to, and limiting what you want to give away to Rocklin. But you think that's definitely a long run idea that you can make that work. So that is in the works now. I think we have various things on the go. So unless anyone wants to drop in anything right at this point, I think we've come to just short of the 3-hour mark. So that seems like me to a good point to leave things for today. So thank you very much, everyone, for playing. As always, you've been fantastic and interesting characters and players to play with. You make my job very easy. I just throw out scenarios and see what you do with them, and then I'm surprised. So it's all good. So thank you for that, and thank you for everyone watching and contributing in chat. I hope you enjoyed it and had as much fun as we did. So we're gonna go back around and do. We ended with Locke last time. So Burrows, just tell us quickly, remind us who you are, what you do.
Yeah, I'm Burrows Forge. I do blacksmithing, beekeeping, falconry, and mead brewing. Right now, we're actually working on making a boar spear from a lawnmower blade. I've forged out this end, and I'm going to put out some flanges and stuff. But we have a good time on Twitch. We also like to brew. I just made some hard seltzer that I've been enjoying over the stream. I look forward to catching you guys, twitch.tv/BurrowsForge.
Awesome, thank you. And Raven.
Raven. I had the pleasure of playing Valentina, your corporate exec. I do massage therapy. You can find me at on Instagram at unapologetic mistress Raven. I had a lot of fun. Can't wait to come back next week.
Good. All right. Glad to hear it. And Ariel.
Hi, I'm Ariel. I'm a dog walker. I amateur writer, and I draw. I had other things I wanted to say, but every time I forget.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Everybody, you need to come back in future and hear the rest of the list.
Yeah. Archery. I do archery.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty fun.
Cool. Okay, very nice. And on that list, yeah, you can write up a list for next time. It's okay. Don't worry. And Smiley.
Hey, I'm CyberSmiley. I run a website called cybersmiley.net. It's mainly geared towards Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red stuff. You'll find some modified rules, a bunch of utility apps that you can use for your Cyberpunk game. I also am a host or a co-host with Wisdom for Tales of the Forlorn Dopes. We kind of do a podcast type of thing every 2 weeks on this Twitch channel. So come check us out. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So thank you again to you guys. You're always brilliant to play with. And thank you to everyone who comes and watches. Please do check these guys out. Check out the Cyberpunk Uncensored Discord and website. There's so much information on there. It is ridiculous. So many resources that are provided free by members of the community. There are people to play games with. There are people to run games with. If you want to run a game, you've got this creative itch and nobody to scratch it with. There is all sorts of stuff going on there. We've also got some awesome sponsors who help Cyberpunk Uncensored to do what they do. Please do check them out. And yeah, come back any other time. As always, I'm Matt. I'm Reservoir Panda, and I do silly, geeky things whenever I get a chance. And nowadays, I put some of them on the internet, and that amount is growing. Now that I'm back with a 21st century internet connection, and I'm not living in the Stone Age again. So yeah, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for interacting in chat. We really, really enjoy it, and that adds a lot to the experience for us. And it allows us to, share some more of our stupid humor than we can squeeze into the stream. So that's always good. And we will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you all, and good night.
Good night.